he's a married man. Why is he calling her mama
Yeah.
like this? But
Yeah.
also, it's the State Farm man. Once I hear his voice, I'm just like, ooh, I am under
I'm
the
in good hands.
hypnosis. Yes, I'd be like, you loved me my whole life, and you just kind of got caught up in this marriage, and now you have children, but you really want to be with me. Damn, that does sound real enticing when you say it like this,
You
and
say
you
it
want
like
to
this.
tell me about
That's all
how you
state
going to
stand.
protect me. Yeah,
Because you're in good hands.
damn.
Yeah.
I'll
So
keep
I
you in
mean,
good hands.
yeah.
Welcome back to the Fade to Black podcast. I'm Imani, and I'm here with Sunny and David Dunnington, Dunnington. And today we are going to be talking about the 1995 film Waiting to Excel. Woo!
I mean, don't we hear this on Sally and Oprah every day?
You black bitches is all the same.
Bitch!
I give you 11 fucking years of my life and you're telling me that you're leaving me for a white woman?
He's been a man in my life, my companion, more than just my baby.
Would it be better if you were black?
No, it'd be better if you were black.
Bark.
Bark. Yes, truly, these people are beautiful. But before we really get into it, I just want to ask y'all, like, why do you think I chose this film?
I think when I think about this film, the first thing that comes to mind is Angela Bassett setting on fire a car. And so I feel like I know that iconic image more than I know the movie. And so maybe it's to give us a deep dive into why she set that car on fire and what does that have to do with exhaling.
Yeah. Okay. David?
Why did you show this movie?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to answer that with a question. Are you good? Everything good?
I do not live this life at all.
Because I don't know if you're mad at
Yes.
somebody.
Oh,
Because
no.
this
No.
film is giving. I wrote this out of spite.
And not reflection?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
just mad.
All right. So you're kind of right, David. You're kind of right. So this movie is based off of the 1992 best-selling novel by Terry McMillian, Waiting to Excel. And she wrote this movie because she had realized she hadn't been on a date in a really long time, like an actual date with someone she likes. She said she had maintenance dates, but not like a real date with somebody in a minute. And when she looked around at her friends and what they were going through and their relationships, it just kind of inspired her to write this book. And so this book came out 3 years before the movie was made, and sold 3 million copies, which is crazy. And Terry McMillan actually wrote the screenplay for this film as well, which isn't very common, where the author of the book actually gets to write the screenplay. And she wrote it with another screenwriter by the name of Ronald Bass. But yeah, this film is directed. This is Forest Whitaker, the phenomenal Forest Whitaker, his feature film directorial debut for this it's like an ensemble cast. It's a huge, there's so many people in it. You have Whitney Houston, you have Angela Bassett, you have Lela Rechon, you have Loretta Devine, you have Wesley Snipes, Juan Carlo Esposito, you have Leon, Gregory Hines, Donald Faye. It's like so many iconic black actors are in this film.
You got the nigga from Allstate?
Yes. Oh my gosh, the Allstate man.
Yes.
You got so many iconic black faces in this film. Then it's directed by this black man, and then it's written by this black woman. And then you think about the music, and the music is by Babyface. And not only did Babyface do the soundtrack, but he did the actual score for the film as well. So that was his first time scoring a film. And like the soundtrack was iconic. He came in, Forest Whitaker personally asked him, he said, "Hey, Babyface, I want you to do the music. And not only do I want you to do the music, I want you to do my score." And so Babyface said, like, in like planning for this soundtrack as well, you know, he wanted it to be a Whitney album, basically. He said, "Whitney, I want you to come in, I want you to sing for it, girl." And Whitney said, "No, I want this to be a soundtrack of all women." And that's exactly what we did. So then we get this soundtrack. So we have this star-studded cast. And then when you look at the soundtrack, you got Whitney on it. You got Aretha Franklin, Brandy, Toni Braxton, Mary J. Blige, Chaka Khan, TLC. Like, it's just wild.
Fuck?
The soundtrack was nominated for 11 Grammys. Like, it's just like, wow, look at this black ass blackity black film that they're making in 1995. And so yeah, that's kind of why I chose it. I feel like it's such as you said, like that car scene with the car being on fire is like such an iconic scene. Whether you've seen this movie or not, you've probably like seen this image of this burning car. And I just wanted to, like, discuss it with some homies, because this is a movie that I grew up watching on like the Oxygen channel. It was always on.
Oh.
And so it's like, yeah, like let's talk about Waiting to Excel. You know, it was a very successful movie for its time. And I feel like it kind of, I mean, there's still like, there were things before it that were kind of similar. Like we had Still Magnolias, which is based off a play, but that's like an all women cast that takes place mostly like in a beauty salon, similar to Gloria's character who owned the beauty salon in the film. But that was like another chick flick that was out before this. And then we also had like Mystic Pizza, which also came out in the 80s, and that was another, like, again, movie with a group of friends, and you see them dating and like them trying to, you know, that was like a coming of age, but there's not many really before Coming to Excel. And then like right after that, like you see this slew of films that's all like female centered, rooted in friendship as they like navigate marriage or dating or life. So it really kind of started something, and I think it's really cool that it had all of these beautiful black people in it. But let's start here. You're in a bar, you see a homie. How do you describe this film to them if they've never seen it?
Well, I'd probably try to relate them back to something a little more modern. I'd be like, so you know the show Girlfriends? Imagine like your four girlfriends, but it's a movie for 2 hours. But it's still like them talking about their relationships and their lives and like the support that they give each other as the world lets them down. But yeah, people just try to figure out their worth and how to survive this life that we live. Waiting to Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale.
I would be like, all right, so hear me out. So 4 of the most beautiful women you've ever seen somehow cannot get a man.
They can. They just don't have good men.
Yeah, I was like, it's not.
How about I rephrase this? 4 of the most beautiful women you've ever seen, for some reason, only go after married men and then get mad when their married man cheats on them. Not saying that's good. Don't cheat on anybody. Don't cheat on your wife. Can I just admit something? So obviously, yes. I'm some fucking dude. I'm some fucking boy. I'm some fucking boy that likes dumb explosions and shit.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up with a lot of these movies. So when I watch these movies, like your Brown Sugars and I'm down for a good rom-com. And there's parts of this movie I really did like. I like when rom-coms are like at their best and they're like really cheesy and like, you know, I love you too. I love that stuff. Yeah. I love like the pulp of that. I just get like dumb, and I don't like, I mean, I apply this to stuff I watch too, and like the stuff that's like for me, like old superhero stuff, I'm like, oh damn, these niggas are just cops. You know what I mean? Yeah. But for stuff like this, I can't get over like the politics of it all, and like, yeah, like I mean, there's nothing wrong with like these women wanting to have a relationship in their life or wanting to feel loved and blah, 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 blah. It's just like all these fucking movies are just like, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man, and it's like, can we give black women something else to do besides need a man?
The man.
And then also, though, like you see how it's a generational thing. Like Whitney's mom is the one pressuring her to be in a relationship, and she's the one who's actively rebelling against it. And I feel like that is a shift that now even in our generation, there's like a bunch of women or just like young people in general who aren't getting married or having children until much later because the opposite message has been preached. Like now you actually have opportunities. You can get an education. You can get a job. Like you really don't need a man for real. And so I think more people are kind of curving in that way where that's not necessarily how people have had to survive before. And so some of that messaging, I think, is more evident as we watch these older films. Yeah, it's just something I'm thinking about. But also, like, the one woman who didn't necessarily care about getting a man is the only one who ends up with one at the end.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's like just a quick overview of the movie, I guess. We like start this movie on like New Year's Eve. This is a New Year's Eve movie. And we have these group of friends. Whitney Houston's character, Savannah, is very about her career. She's like a TV producer, and like Sunny said, like, yeah, her mom is like pressuring her to get a man. It's like, girl, like your career is not gonna hold you at night. And she's just like doesn't really have the confidence, I guess, or the courage to like tell her mom to sit down. But she moves back to Phoenix, Arizona. So yeah, this movie is in this black people in Phoenix, Arizona.
It's just in the desert with cacti and everything.
Yeah, I feel like that's also part of what makes this movie so beautiful, is because like we're in this like this beautiful like desert like landscape, but we're just seeing like these black people live.
And all this brown on brown.
But she moves back to Phoenix, Arizona, to where like she knows, I guess, her old hairdresser, played by Loretta Devine. Her name is Gloria. So Gloria owns this beauty salon that all the women come to. So that's kind of how they all know each other. Savannah's kind of like the old new friend. Like, so she moved away but moved back. So she knows Angela Bassett's character, Bernadine, but I don't think that she knows Lela Rechon's character, Robin. But like when she moves back, she finds out like Bernadine is on the precipice of a divorce. Like her husband came to her on New Year's Eve and is like, I'm leaving you for somebody else, for this white woman. And Angela Bassett is like, oh my goodness, like her world's turned upside down. She's basically a stay-at-home mother for 11 years, raising the kids, taking care of the house, and then also being like this man's free secretary and planning everything for his business, really helping him and his business elevate. Meanwhile, she's putting her dreams of like having a catering company on hold because she's like giving so much of herself to everyone around her. Loretta Devine's character, the hairdresser, Gloria, is a single mother. Her son is like about to graduate high school or something and wants to travel. I didn't know that this was a real group. So Donald Faison plays her son, Tariq, and he wants to go with a group called like Upward People or something, like Up With People, which is a real group, and it's a nonprofit that travels around the world basically performing in different parts of the world for like different communities and stuff. What? And so that's what he wants to go do instead of going to college. And she's kind of like, no, you need to go to college. And also she is kind of like looking to like rekindle her love with her ex-husband, played by Juan Carlo Esposito. And he comes out and is like, hey girl, I always thought I was bi, but actually I'm gay, so we not rekindling nothing. Tariq doesn't handle this well. He's very homophobic towards his father. It's the 90s. so you have like each one has something going on, and then you have Lela Rechon's character, who is also very, very like business minded. Like she's smart about her career, but she absolutely has like the worst taste in men. Like Whitney Houston, like she's been having this affair with this married man, where it's never going to go anywhere. And then she's also really like superficial, and so like she may like meet these good men, but like she's not interested. Like Wendell Pierce at one point, like she goes on a date with her coworker, and she's kind of not really feeling him because he's not usually what she's into, and she ends up getting pregnant by like her married boo, and decides to like raise the kid like up on her own. Like Whitney finally gets the strength to tell her mom to like sit down, calm down. Gloria like meets her new neighbor across the street, played by Gregory Hines, like R.I.P. And like they kind of get something taken off, and then like Angela Bassett's character, like she reclaims her Tom essentially. Like she divorces that man. She gets a lot of money because he wasn't trying to give her any money. She gets a good settlement out of the divorce. Like she meets someone new who encourages her to pursue her dreams. It's just a lot going on with these women in this movie. Like all of their love lives are like falling apart, and I think that was like, David, like you said, you were kind of frustrated with the fact that like these women were like all choosing like these horrible men and like stuck in this cycle. But Terry McMillian herself, like she said that she writes to understand people, and like things that she things that she wouldn't necessarily do or understand, like that's what she writes for. And so I do think that like all of these women are presented are presented with care. Like even though it's like they're all making like these poor decisions, and it's like, girl, stand up. I do think they're not presented to us like in a judgy way. Like none of them are meant to be bad people, even if they're sleeping with married men. Like they're not, this isn't a movie meant to shame women. I do think that it's just one of those movies, like it's like, hey, like we all get caught up in things. But do either one of you guys, do you think that this movie was about love, romance, finding love, or do you think it was about friendship? Like which one came through more for you?
I feel like it sets itself up to be about love, and then you discover the friendship, and then you think that's where we're going, and then it gets really lovey again. But the friends are kind of like the glue that keeps it all together. Like I feel like I settled on, it's about the friends when they're all like sitting together at the couch, and Angela Bassett is like boohoo crying, talking about like what happened to the party. That felt like the moment of like, oh, we're all here together, like really bringing the storylines together, not passing the Bechdel test, but
not at all.
But that's where I'm just like, I think this is what it's supposed to be about. But it feels like that is secondary to the love stories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. David, did you have an opinion?
So weirdly, I was like, I kind of forgot. I'd be like, wait, are they a group of friends? Oh, right, they were all together that one time, and then obviously, eventually, they have a sleepover and stuff. I feel like it's about finding yourself and what you actually want.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was kind of like I feel like that was kind of like the journey for like every one of them, was kind of realizing what they wanted out of life, and not living for others. But at the end of the day, it's a romance movie, so we do loop back into love. I think the book itself like leans more into friendship, because we don't have many scenes where we actually see all of these women together. Like we are very much like seeing them live their lives separately, and then they come together maybe like 3 or 4 times, where they kind of like catch up or like discuss whatever men. And
I feel like it's definitely a scheduling. Sorry, not to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're
I feel
fine.
like that was definitely a scheduling thing. Like sometimes when I'm watching stuff, I'm like in producer brain, and I'm like, we're not seeing them a lot together, and I'm like, why do we just keep seeing Whitney Houston just like on the phone? And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
they probably like had to do like she probably had to like hurry up for a tour or you know, I don't know all the logistics, but like I just felt I could feel the celebrity of it all and the producer shit getting involved, getting in the way of the production.
See, I was just thinking that it could be because of like of writing exercises of like which two characters have we not seen together, because they do feel like staples to each of their individual lives of like, okay, we, like you said, we get a moment in the beginning, middle, and end, and in between you just have like these two offs of like people having connective tissue just like filling in the group until they all meet again.
I agree. I think that there probably were scheduling conflicts. Like this movie came out in 95, so we are at the like height of Whitney Houston's stardom. Like she is Whitney.
She's every woman.
Yeah, she's literally she is every woman. Every interview I watched, it like everyone like would come out one by one, and then like Whitney Houston would come out and the crowd would go insane. This is like after The Bodyguard, so like The Bodyguard has already happened. She's already been Whitney Houston, like pop superstar, but and this is right before she did Preacher's Wife with Denzel. So it's like Whitney is very much in her Hollywood bag. This is Hollywood Whitney. And she is already a super major star. So yeah, I would not be surprised if like Whitney just wasn't available to be here with everyone. And then you have Angela Bassett, who this is a couple years after she did What's Love Got to Do with It. So she's already like in people's minds as this like phenomenal actress. Like people are already like, oh my gosh, she acts her ass off. Terry McMillan approached Angela Bassett personally way before the movie even went into production, just to tell her specifically like, I want you to play Bernadine. And like Angela Bassett already familiar with the book because like I said, it was a bestseller. Everyone was reading it, and apparently that was like a huge thing too, was like all the like the publishers were really underestimating like black readers, and were very surprised to see like the turnout, like how black women really showed up for this book. And it was like every black woman had read it, like everyone knew this book. But Terry McMillan personally asked Angela Bassett specifically to play Bernadine, which is like, yes, because you see that scene. What did you guys think of that scene when she like burns down the house? Basically, she burns down her husband's car, throws his clothes in there, like destroys all his shit. Like, what did you guys think of that scene?
I thought it was pretty good, and I thought she acted her ass off. Like it was a little expositional, but like that scene could have been really corny. It could have been really corny, really fast. And I think her performance, like she made it, like at first she's like mad, but then it's like, oh, this is sad. Like this is a person going through a mental health crisis. And
she's processing her grief.
Yeah, and throughout the film, she does a good job of like appearing very manic. Like the part where like the kids drop something and she's just like, oh, haha. And it's not that she's supposed to blow up at them or anything, but she's going from like just even at the club where she's just like crazy happy all the time to like fucking furious and sad, and like she's not control of her. I don't mean this. I mean, I'm as analyzing a character. I'm not trying to like demean her anyway. She's not in control of her emotions. She's like running up to fucking her ex-husband in the middle of a courtroom. Like she's storming into his office, which I was all for. Like I felt vindicated her doing that stuff, because fuck that guy. Slapping the fucking white lady in the middle of the office.
Yes, it was his other secretary.
Also, I'm sorry, I'm just hyping up Angela Bassett. So one, I could not get over, and again, I said this to you guys earlier, because people in movies are beautiful. Like most people in movies are hot, right? I could not get over how goddamn beautiful Angela Bassett is in this movie. I was like, good Lord. Me and my girlfriend were just like, oh my God. See, when you just talk about Angela Bassett, you just kind of just get distracted. Shout out Angela Bassett. All the actors, first of all the actors are beautiful. all of them. They all do a great job. I just think she's definitely the top performer of all of them in this movie, at least. Like where she almost feels like the main character. I know they're trying to sell Whitney as the main character.
She does feel like the main character. Yeah.
But Bernadine has way more scenes and way more to do, and she's very physical. She's got the most. I feel like she has the most story arc to go through. And she does a lot with it. She does a lot with the material. And again, stuff could have got really corny, but she does a really good job of feeling like human in this very, you know, rom-com sort of thing. And another thing, I'm yapping. Another thing I'll mention is I was glad that, I'd never seen this movie. I was really worried this was going to be on some sort of color girl shit, and we were about to see some like assault and women getting slapped and abused.
Thrown out the window.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Thank God. Thank God. I mean, yes, I'm glad it wasn't just trauma, the movie. It was just relationship problems, the movie, and messiness, the movie.
Yes. Yeah. I know that like Angela Bassett's that scene is like mostly improvised. Like that was
I could tell.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that was Angela. And like we are like seeing so much. We're getting so much like exposition about like that marriage like through this like breakdown that like like she gave him 11 years, you know, being his secretary, put her shit on hold, and like you're seeing like her collect all of these items that you know he amassed over the time of this marriage, and just like throwing them out in the car, setting it on fire. You know, we're in the desert, so it's just like this image of like this car ablaze, like her walking away with like cig in mouth. It is iconic. It truly is. But I think that most of like the story of this movie is built off of like Bernadine's divorce. I think that's kind of like a reason why we have so many scenes with her, is because like she is kind of like the thing that we're like tracking over, because it's a 1 year span, like over the span of this year is her divorce, and seeing how this all comes out, and like we see the women all trying to come together and like support her during this time, but like we are also seeing that they have stuff going on in their lives as well.
I was going to say
Also,
I was just going to say that I was told like a story begins when stasis is broken. And so for us to like start getting the intro of everybody's love stories at the strike of midnight, and then hers is the emergency broadcast system as like the world starts to crumble around her. And also to like the thought of this scene, I feel like the first time I watched it through, the dialogue does feel like a little chunky, even though you're like, I love the stuff that she's saying, but like as she's like stomping through the house, like it does feel a little off until you get through the fire ablaze, and then it starts to set in. And then I feel like rewatching, I don't know, I'm just like, I'm kind of here for all of those monologues. Like I'm here for all of those things that like you don't dare to say out loud, but I think there's a lot of people who talk out loud already, and a lot of people who probably don't, because they're just like afraid of what can happen when you are exposed in that way. And so I'm just like, for somebody who has been playing the background, who has like allowed herself to have been I don't want to say oppressed, but also I'm just like, you living under your husband's foot, what he say go. And then just like, come on, Celie, get up. So I'm just like, it's like, feels like for the first time that she's just like really allowing herself to take the mask off and like be confronted with this new reality that she hasn't I guess adjusted to, and it's because of this man, because of the lies that he's been telling her, because of the way that he has also participated in the delusion with her, that she's got to confront him in this way. And I'm just like, you know, crazy could kind of look crazy if you're just like, I don't understand why this is happening, why people are responding in this way. But I'm just like, ooh, but for 11 years she raised that man's kids, like, you the real fool, John.
Yes.
Yeah. Ran the company, like was doing, and I think like that happens a lot, like to like a lot of women married to very like successful men who like, you know, you want to support your spouse's like dreams and endeavors, but you end up putting like yourself aside and doing that and only pushing him. And that was like a wake-up call. Like at the beginning of the movie when they each have like little lines of like what they are hoping like for the year, and Bernadine's is like, this is finally the year I'm gonna start my catering company, you know. And then when, you know, maybe like 15 minutes like into the film, when he does like leave her, it's like, I'm leaving you, and she like brings up that like, you know, you always said you were gonna support me in my catering company, and he's like kind of, he downs it, and he's like, it was never gonna go anywhere, like, you know, like that was never going. And so it just that scene when she's burning everything down, it just feels like it's very much like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and like her having to realize like she has to burn all this shit down, like, because she is also, out of the friend group, I think like she does have like the most money, like the most successful. Like she lives in this beautiful home. She has like all of these name brand clothes. Not that like Whitney is also very successful in her own route, right? But like Bernadine's husband, like that company is huge. Like it's supposed to be like a really big, a huge company that they built together. And I think like it's such a freeing moment for her, even if it is chaotic and we are like seeing her kind of like go off the rails. But it's like, you know, that would make you feel crazy. It's like you didn't put your life, you didn't gave 11 years to this man, and all of a sudden he's just gonna leave you for this white lady that's been working for him, and it's like you don't care about anything I've done for you, like a single thing. And then like, yeah, we just see her in the movie, and it's almost like, you know, David, you said like she's like manic, but I think we're seeing like Bernadine like trying to find herself again, and so she's like running through all of these things because of like she hasn't been able to like her just going to the club and like dancing with a married man. You know, it's just like her just trying to live. I think she was very much someone who like played it safe her whole life, and now realizing that like playing it safe didn't get her anywhere or didn't make her any more special, and her just trying to just like let loose. Like she cuts all her hair off, and this is also right before, like this is before Angela Bassett made How Stella Got Her Groove Back. So that probably like helped. It probably was like a moment of like, women want to see this, women want to see Stella get her groove back, like Bernadine get her groove back. But I do know also like the intention with this film, like with all like Forest Whitaker, all the women acting it, Terry McMillian, was very much to depict Black women differently than what was being shown in the 90s. You didn't really have a lot of movies that centered Black women friendships that weren't like cutthroat. Like all of these women were very supportive of each other. Like they were not, you know, downing each other behind each other's back. Like they're all very, 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 very supportive of each other. And again, like they're all like, you know, like middle class Black women. You know, they're not like financially struggling in any way. Like again, they live in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's like they live in a place where you may not even associate Black people being. And so this movie is very much trying to show that like Blackness is not a monolith, and that it looks different, and this is what it can be. But yeah, what do you think that this film says about like dating and relationships, and is there like a message to take away? I think we kind of touched on this, but yeah, what do you think this film is trying to say about dating and relationships, and maybe the importance, like are they important in our lives?
Well, one, I need to shout out, I realized what I forgot to say. I forgot to mention that the best line maybe said in cinema ever, when he's like talking to Angela Bassett about cheating on her with this secretary, and she's like, you left me for this white woman, and he goes, would have been better if she was Black, and she goes, no, it would have been better if you were Black.
Yeah, she was beating that man down with her words.
Sheesh. She was. Also, I like that the music cut off when she turned around like super fast. She was like, wait a minute. Yeah. What does it say about dating? I don't know. Here's the thing. I also feel like these movies do a bad job of, I guess, it's of different times and stuff, but I'm just like, I don't know. Something about a rom-com, and it gets me all like, can we teach better lessons? You know what I mean? And not that I'm some like super relationship scholar. I'm like the best at healthy relationships. I've never had an unhealthy relationship ever in my life. Don't ever assume that. But I don't know. I feel like none of these actually, I mean, their ultimate thing is like find yourself, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of these films, they're like, I don't know. It's very like, everything is so unhealthy. I know this for the drama, but it's just like someone's always married. Someone's always like, there's always got to be this like crazy unhealthy shit. And like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically, like, it makes dating seem awful. All of these movies make dating seem horrible. And that everybody's just kind of like playing this game of like, everybody's hiding something. And it's like, no wonder mad people are always like checking their exes or checking their boyfriend or girlfriend's phone all the time because they grew up watching shit like this. And like, just like, yeah, men just be cheating out here. That's just like what it is. Like, I don't know. It's just like accepting these horrible things instead of being like, we should change them. I don't know. Maybe I'm like reading it wrong. And again, this is a rom-com dealing with like messy people with messy lives. And I'm not against that. But I guess I'm just lumping this in with like every other movie like it. Every other black rom-com. And I feel like they're all teaching the wrong things.
Interesting. Sunny?
I got to watch this with my mom, and so I'm just like right after she's like, I think this is a movie about trying to teach women that they deserve better and they don't need to put up with these things. And like throughout it, we were just talking about like how this feels so relatable. Like as somebody who has been going through the dating gambit in this last like year or two, I felt like I saw myself in so many of these different relationships or scenarios. And there's like lots of moments where you feel like Angela Bassett said it. She's like, I can't be like you, Loria. Like, I really do need somebody by my side. Like, I feel like like when you have the house, the kids, the money, and it feels like you're missing just that one thing, the one person who like loves and cares about you, or is even going to give you some sort of attention, especially in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona, where look at our options. Like, I don't know, like there's just, I relate to the idea of wanting to be desired and loved so much that sometimes you do just start to put up with anything because it gets you close to what you want, even though you're not really there, and you know you could do better, you know you deserve better, but you know this just be what it be right now. And so I think, without stealing Mom's point, but leaning into that thought, because I feel like when I watched this as like a kid, I only watched it once, because I was just like, it feels a little sad. Like, I'm just like, they just went through some shit and there's no satisfaction at the end. I'm just like, they stand around a bonfire, but like everybody's miserable. But now I'm just like, no, they're not. Like the self-discovery process of, no, you can lean into to your community. Like there are people who still love and care about you, even if it's not coming in a romantic way. And yeah, so it's just like, I guess for me, if the message of reanalyzing what your relationships are, of like, what are the things that you're really trying to get out of them? And like, does it have to come in the form that you think it should come in? Because I don't necessarily think that Michael was necessarily a great candidate. I think he set himself up to think that he was, but he's definitely the nice guy who's like, where's my hug? Because he's listening to Loretta's whole list, and really, he's just like, you don't really want much, and I can give you that and more. Because all she wants is kids, some wings, and a house. And he's like, that's simple. But also to be the red flag is, you think that she has low standards, and that you could just like get by on her. And so I'm just like, her dumping this man is more about like, oh, and now you're trying to pull up on me at work and like also make me look bad. Like you definitely aren't even somebody who's actually actively going to support me in my everyday. So like, what are we doing here? So I feel like to me, to watch my life in the various scenes, or at least that's how I think all movies work, where we relate ourselves to what's happening. I'm just like, damn, yeah, these are the stories of dating that maybe some people don't see or get to hear, or you think it's not going to be me, but there go Angela Bassett, who's like, I mean, I know he's married, but like, damn, he's the one coming after me right now, you know? Savannah said the same thing. Like, it's been 5 months since I've had some, and I know this dude is trash, but at the same time, it was one day. The morality of just like what we put ourselves through to get what we think we want, for love, for desire. It's heartbreaking, but also like, I don't know.
It's real.
It's
real. It's like I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit on that, David, because I don't think that this movie is necessarily like trying to tell women like you need a man. Like I think it is like the opposite, that it is more like it's more about your community, but at the same time not trying to shame those who want to be desired, because it's not a bad thing to want to be desired. It's not a bad thing to want a man. Like it's also, that's perfectly fine. It's a normal feeling. But I think it is more about like, that's not the end all be all for you. Like, you know, focus on your other relationships, focus on your friendships. Because those are the things that like will a lot of times like outlast it and what matter. And so I think that this movie felt different for me, like in terms of like when I compare them to like other rom-coms, because I do feel like in other rom-coms, like in Brown Sugar, like the goal is for Sanaa and Taye Diggs to get together. But that at the start of Waiting to Excel, I don't necessarily feel like the goal is for, or maybe like at first I do feel like the goal is for all of these women to like find a man, but like halfway through the movie I realized, oh, that's not necessarily the goal. Like these women need to find their voices. I
was like, it's called Waiting to Exhale. Like they're all just like waiting for the moment that they could like just let the fuck go, that somebody is gonna like help them feel safe enough to just breathe. And unfortunately, every time they take a breath, the rug is like, oh, sugar lump snatched from right underneath the bum, you know? It's like they're just all waiting to just. I'm like, sorry, I'm just gonna say, like, not to be like all men, but it just feels like the examples of men in this movie show how quickly they are to also like turn on these women the second that they start to like set any boundaries, announce their standards, and so I feel like that's also like something to highlight, is that these people who are toting themselves around like, I'm the good person, and any girl would want a man who's trying to bring her home to mom, and it's like, yeah, but not really, because you're trying to manipulate me with this. Like you're also now trying to like introduce me as basically like wife and mother to your child who I didn't even know you had, or and I'm like also not to like the white woman of it all, but I feel like that's why the only two married men we see are also both married to white women, to like give two flips to the same coin of like, yes, you can fall in love with somebody of different races, and like that's not the point, but the point is to the man who's just like yelling at you from the bottom of the balcony thinking that like white women are superior to black women, and that because you are not bowing down and treating me the way that a quote unquote white woman would, or what I think a more subservient quote unquote woman would, then that's why you don't want to, that's why you're not in a relationship, that's why you don't have a man. And I'm just like, I think that's kind of the point, is that like there are so many people trying to tell black women that they're not deserving of love, that even when they're in relationships they still shouldn't have standards of the relationship, and like that's the struggle. That's the struggle, is to like be seen for what your worth is, to feel it for yourself, so that way you can actually demand it, and then meet somebody who will I guess accept it, encourage it, allow you to exist as yourself. The trials and tribulations,
your full self, and not lean away from that anger. This movie does not lean away from like anger.
Oh no, it's very righteously angry.
Like like these women all have the right to be angry, and I mean, like we see why. Like we're not just like, she's not just angry for no reason. Like we're seeing everything that's happening and going on. Like how it's wild how Bernadine's husband treats her, like after, like during the process of this divorce, and like him being like, you don't deserve anything. Like this is my money. Like what are you talking about, girl? And it's like I've been behind you this whole time. You wouldn't have even been where you are if it weren't for me. But like, yeah, just the different ways in which, like, like Sunny was saying, like different ways in which women are like treated in dating, especially specifically like Black women in this film, and how like sometimes we're not allowed, to be righteously angry, and to say that, or to speak up for like what we want in relationships or what we need, and the type of pushback that can sometimes happen. So I guess that leads me to my next question. What do you think that this film says about masculinity and manhood? I did watch like the interview that they did on Oprah when the film came out, and there was like a man in the audience who stood up, and he said that like, this film kind of like made him feel bad about himself, and that like that's like kind of like he enjoyed the movie, like the more he watched it, like he didn't necessarily like feel it got better, but he said that like he definitely felt like this movie did make him feel bad for being a man. So I am curious, do you think that this film like has a message about masculinity and manhood, is trying to make a statement about it, or do you think that were these just the men that they were dealing with? Like, what do you guys think?
First, to respond to that guy, grow up. You got to be all right. There's literally every other movie is supporting of you. Shut the fuck up. Sorry, just respond to that man who probably is dead or something. Second, I don't know. I definitely feel like I definitely support the theme of men are trash in this movie, because they're just all acting like shit.
But not all of them, because like, she meets Gregory Hines' character, and he's a very nice guy.
No, it's not all men. It's definitely not all men. I guess the thing is, like, here's, I don't know. It definitely. Here's what I'll say. I definitely agree with like these men are all like, some of these men are nice until a boundary is set, and like they're still in this view of like the patriarchy, like, what are you gonna do for me type of thing, even when they're playing nice. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I kind of only just like, maybe, also, I'll say this. When you're viewing something in a certain way, you're kind of like in a certain mood. And my mood was mostly like, all these niggas are trash. Like, the son's annoying. Honestly, he wasn't that bad. I just didn't like that he was homophobic. He wasn't really doing anything wrong. He was just like getting head in his room, which is like, come on.
Yeah, mom walks right in.
And the girl's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, you get your little 17-year-old dick sucked. It's like, leave that boy alone. I don't know. Honestly, I guess like I was kind of like annoyed the entire fucking movie. And not because I'm like annoyed at the men. I'm annoyed at the women characters. I know they're all just being messy, but I'm just like, everybody is acting so illogical. I think that's my thing. And I know I'm not answering your question right now. The men are suck. The men are trash, and they're spoiled, and not all men are bad. But the movie is saying, listen, there's nothing wrong with wanting a man, but if that's all you want, I hate to break it to you, but they do not want the same thing you want all the time. And do you?
Do you? Yeah.
Also, sorry, I'm yapping. I think the other thing is, because I'm just kind of like, I'm doing this in draft, as Sonny says. Like, obviously, I cannot, not that I can't. I have empathy, like I said, a good writer should. But yes, like, things aren't going to hit me as much because I'm not a black woman in the dating scene dealing with all these fuck niggas. So like, yeah, like that's just not gonna hit me, and I'm gonna be sitting there like, why are you accepting this? Ugh. But like, that's me and my own fucking male pride being like, I wouldn't deal with that dumb shit. I'd be out the fucking doors because I can. Of course I can. I don't have to accept anything. I'm never waiting to exhale. I'm exhaling all goddamn day. You know what I mean? So I fully get that. So I guess I'm just like putting that over like any of my weird opinions. It's just like, I do watch this frustrated, but also understanding that like, I'm not going through any of the things these women are going through. So I'm like, but also I'm not going on. I'm like, well, these men are so evil. God. And men are evil. Like, men are that evil. I've literally seen situations where John Sr. I've seen John Seniors in real life where they've put their wife through the ringer and then they divorce and they're like, oh, I want the kids and I want everything. And even though you did everything for me, I want to be cruel to you for no reason other than to be cruel. Like, I've seen men be worse than John Sr. actually. So
because you made me feel bad, so now watch me destroy your entire life. You'll never.
You made me feel bad for acknowledging something bad that I actually did to you. So now I have to destroy your whole thing and make myself feel right. And then when you act crazy about it because I'm driving you crazy, I make you feel crazy. I make you think you're insane, and Yeah. Anyway. So I guess that does kind of answer your question. It's like, yeah, she is saying like all these, and there are different types of like misogyny in there. And like, I think ultimately with the white woman thing, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like race does play a weird part in this. And the white women aren't really even shown that much. No. It's really just like they're mentioned and they're like this kind of like currency, and it's like this thing that they always put over their heads. They're like, I could just leave you for a white, like, especially men of wealth and power. They're like, I could just leave you for a white woman anytime. And it's like, anytime there's like any sort of pushback, it's like, yeah, that's why we don't fuck with y'all. You know what I mean? I think that was, especially that part where he's like drunk downstairs, like trying to throw like fruit at, what was her name? Light-skinned girl.
Robin,
who I was scared. I was scared for her because usually in movies like this, if a girl's like cute and she's like, like, doing whatever, I'm like, they're going to set this girl up. Usually those types of movies, that girl gets like attacked or something fucked up. So I was really scared for her, but I liked her. She stood her ground. She was like throwing her fruit at him. She was like, that white woman can have your sorry ass.
Yeah.
I was kind of mostly confused by her whole dynamic, to be honest with you.
Like her character or like the relationship?
I mean, it sounds like she, from her story at the end, like moved here for a married man, got pregnant. He didn't want to claim it or her, and so she had an abortion, but then still is like in this back and forth with this man and just kind of trying to live out her life in Phoenix. And she's trying to date other people, and she knows she's beautiful. She knows she's got a good job. She's got things to offer, but she's just not finding what she's looking for. And she thinks it's because she's holding herself to the same standard of the man that she fell in love with, who is still just like unattainable. Yeah.
I think that Robin's character was meant to be like, because all of these women like kind of represent like different things. So you have like Whitney, who's like the beautiful, like she's beautiful. She has this successful career, like she's killing it in her career. But like but she can't get a man, or like she's stuck in this cycle with this married man. And then you have like Loretta Devine's character, who is divorced, and she doesn't have as much confidence because of her weight, so she's like self-conscious about her weight.
And her
like,
child.
And her child. Yeah, she has all these like this quote unquote baggage. And so we see her like trying to navigate this. And then you have like Bernadine, who was married and is now getting divorced and entering the scene. And so Robin's character is meant to be, I think, like the confident, beautiful woman who's I think she's like meant to kind of like pair with Whitney's character a little bit. But like she's more like different. I feel like she's more different in the sense of like she has more sex appeal like than Whitney's character. Like Whitney is like beautiful professional woman, and like Lela Rechon's character is like sexy professional woman. And
that's why I was scared for her. I was scared because usually they set those women up for failure in movies.
Yeah, for failure. And like she's not really
Thank
in this
God.
film. Like I mean, I think
they try to paint
everyone
her as somebody who's just like not that smart either. Because I'm like the whole thing was just like my wallet just disappeared, and it's like girl, it's gone.
It's gone. Yes. So yeah, I think that was kind of like the point for her character. I'm glad nothing horrible happened to really any of these women. I don't think it was meant to be that. Huh?
Naive. I was like, that's the word. I'm like,
that's
she's
the word.
naive.
She's naive.
She's naive,
like,
but she's like in a super position of power at this big corporate job. Like
She's
that doesn't make any
successful.
sense.
Yeah,
like,
she's
girl,
naive. It's like she has that business sense, but it's like when it comes to dating men, it's like, girl, what?
And honestly,
what?
this put me back in mind of Insecure, because Issa talked about when she was like pitching the show, and there were execs who were just like, it doesn't make sense. These are all these gorgeous women in power, and they're acting like they're not that. And it's like, that's the thing. That's
life.
What they're insecure about, because I'm like, they are gorgeous. They are in these positions, but they don't see it because there's so many things telling them that they're not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to like step into that, or to, I guess, fully realize your power. I'm like, I get the feedback a lot when people meet me. They're like, oh my gosh, you're oozing with confidence. And then sometimes you start to work with me a little bit more, and it's just like, why are you not confident? Why are you not taking the steps to do this? Why are you so anxious? And I'm just like, because that's who the fuck I actually am. And I'm sorry that you just projected whatever you wanted at first, and now you're recognizing that I'm not meeting the expectations that you imagined. So I'm just like, something about that duality feels real spicy and consistent.
Yes.
Like the fact that this film still has like so many relatable issues to it.
Yeah.
After 20 years.
Yes,
30?
after
Almost 30.
29 years. Yeah. 29 years. And it's still a highly relevant movie. Not much has really changed. They could make this movie again. They were going to make a sequel with the same women right before Whitney Houston passed. And then I do know, so that was in 2012. And then I do know that Lee, like in 2020, Lee Daniels was in talks of like bringing it back, but as a television series. But
he owed too many people money. He don't need to be doing that.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was like 4 years ago, so nothing is really like taken off from that. But I mean, yeah, this movie is still very relevant. The soundtrack still hits. Still hit. Put that soundtrack on. Still hits. Look, 11 Grammys. How does a movie soundtrack get nominated for 11 Grammys? Like, that's just crazy.
It seems like a lot of black movies. We were talking about the Melvin Van Peebles thing.
I was just thinking that.
Black movies are like, it's just essential to black movies to have a fire soundtrack, even if it's like not directed by a black person. Like even Spider-Verse has like a coinciding crazy soundtrack. Metro Boomin and like Black Panther has a crazy soundtrack, and like all the black movies have like a big soundtrack or a song. I mean, most movies had a song.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, David, too, because this soundtrack, like Melvin Van Peebles dropping his soundtrack for Sweetback, this soundtrack was released a month before the movie. So it's like, yeah, people are getting like these R&B tunes. You got Not Gonna Cry, like Mary J. Blige, iconic Mary J. Blige song. You got Count on Me with Whitney Houston and CeCe Winans. Chaka Khan is doing a cover of My Funny Valentine. Aretha Franklin's on this. It's like so many. There's like a song for everybody on this soundtrack. Like it's banging. I love it. So I'm like, what an iconic movie.
Patti LaBelle.
Yes, Patti LaBelle's on it.
I was just gonna say, my mom even watching this through was like, "Don't you remember the soundtrack? Us listening to this over and over." And I was like, "I do not recall this specific soundtrack, but do I know all of these songs? Yes. So maybe it's actually ingrained in there, and I just didn't know.
It's just a part of you, and you just don't know it. But yeah, I'm like, that is how hard this soundtrack hits. And then I just wanted to ask, did you guys have like a favorite character? Did you like any of these people? Or like, I really like her or him, if you like a man.
I liked Bernadine a lot. She has the most to do. She's acting her ass off, Angela Bassett. And like I said, I'm sorry I'm making of course I'm just being this dude being like, everybody's so beautiful. All the people were beautiful. All the men were beautiful. Fucking
yes, everyone in this
Giancarlo Esposito was looking. As soon as he came in, I'm like, they're gonna say this nigga gay. I knew it. I fucking knew it. I'm like, this nigga about to be gay. I swear to God.
Yeah. But looks gorgeous.
That nigga gay. Yeah, he's gorgeous. He looks beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Wesley Snipes looks good. I also went Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
Like,
I think that's like an uncredited cameo. That's the only scene he's
and
in.
he's also popping at this time. Like,
yeah, he is.
He
like
also
Demolition
just pissed
Man
me
is
off
definitely
when he
out.
came in, though.
I mean, it's Wesley Snipes, so yes, he pisses me off. But
I mean, because I was just like, why the fuck are you sitting next to me in this big ass empty restaurant and bar? And my mom was like, because he just came out of a meeting, like he just wants to talk to somebody, and like this black woman. And I'm just like, but you see her sitting here by her goddamn self. Why come sit right next to her?
That's
so
how people
because she
slide
is the
through.
most beautiful woman you've ever seen. Damn it!
And you like, I need to talk to her.
Leave her alone.
I'm like, that's
Leave her
like,
alone. Leave her alone. I would probably leave her alone because I'd be too scared. But God Almighty, I'd be like, good Lord, that is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
I guess if you gotta try it, then that's how.
And
you
also, if
build
I'm a businessman, if I got the confidence, if I got the confidence to talk shit to all these business execs, I am shooting my shot, and I'm be like, look, I just came for this meeting. I got money. Oh, you got a divorce? Oh man.
Yeah. Say my wife's dying, you know, like
yes,
what's one day?
Wife. Oh my gosh. I'm like, who is this man?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes was one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie. Like he did grow on me. I was just initially pissed off.
Yeah.
Also, I agree. Angela Bassett did the thing, and like stunningly gorgeous, sitting there like catatonic, nearly in her bed as she's like listening to this voicemail. But the whole time, I'm just like, but damn, she looked good.
God, them cheekbones.
And I feel like there's one more, but it's slipping my mind, and so I'm just gonna sing about it till I remember. Oh, the State Farm man, Dennis. Because he almost had me where again I'm just like, he's a married man, why is he calling her mama like this? But also it's the State Farm man. Once I hear his voice, I'm just like, ooh, I am under the hypnosis. Yes, and be like, you loved me my whole life and you just kind of got caught up in this marriage and now you have children but you really want to be with me. Damn, that does sound real enticing when you say it like this, and you want to tell me about
that's all states stand.
Protect me. Yeah,
you're in good hands.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'll keep you in good hands.
Yeah, but you know, once again, once she was like, "You gonna leave me for the next hoe? Just say way you about to do your wife," and he was like, "You ungrateful ass bitch," and I said, "There it goes. There he is. Ruined it for me. Thank you."
Yeah. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed, of course, Angela Bassett. She stole the movie. Like she really steals the whole entire movie. I do love Whitney's character. I love Whitney Houston so much. But like I like that Savannah was like out here killing it career wise. I like that she was real with herself. Like, I haven't had sex in 5 months, so what's one night? You know, I'm not trying to get caught up on this man. I'm just trying to have a good time. I think she's probably the most like probably Terry McMillian. Even Terry McMillian said like these people are all of her and all of her friends. And I even like Gloria. Like Gloria, I love Loretta Devine, so it's like
I love her.
I'm a root for her every single time. I'm like, I hope Gloria get everything she wants.
She was ready. She was her ex-man came over. She was getting all cute and shit.
That's what I'm saying. She was like,
you can stay over here. She was trying to
I was like, but she
like,
cracked me
"Girl,
up
I'm
in
gay."
the same way with trying to come sit next to somebody who minded their damn business, just switching all the way across the street to be like, why he letting you come over and help move his boxes? I'm like, why do you assume this man is helping? It's just him.
She's flirting. This is her game. This is how she spent her game.
I see it. And
She's
also,
shooting her shot.
it's me. I'm the neurodivergent who's just like, why are people talking to me? I don't understand.
I'm like,
So
they
as people,
spitting game. They spitting game right now. She's like, I come over, cook you a little something, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, ribs, ham hocks. It's kind of like she lists it all meal. He was like, oh, I'm good, thank you. Though. Like,
she was like, you just got all that right now across the street? Damn.
She's like, I'll just whip up something real quick for you. You working real hard. She was spitting her game. She was spitting her game. I'm like,
I hope he don't watch me when I'm walking away. He's watching.
Yes.
It feels like seeing your auntie just going on dates, and you just like, go ahead, Loretta. Like,
exactly.
get you
I'm
some,
rooting for her.
please.
Get it, auntie. I'm rooting for her. I'm rooting for you. And then before we go, was there anything in this movie that did surprise you? Yeah, like Sunny said that you'd seen it as a kid but didn't really remember it. David wasn't familiar. Just looking at the title, looking at what it was. Was there anything in this movie that surprised you, or like you just didn't expect it to go?
Not really. I kind of I wasn't not that I was I don't know, I wasn't totally thrown off by something. Filmmaking wise, I was like, oh, this is better shot than I thought it'd be. Mm-hmm. It was pretty looking movie. Good location. I'll say here's what actually shocked me. It doesn't have anything to do with the story. It just made me I went, what? And it was when after Angela Bassett has her break down and they yank the phone cord off because she's going to call the white woman and cuss her out, and her friends do the right thing and stop her from doing it. And she goes, aren't we having a party? And then it just cuts. It just cuts to them all doing the electric slide. That didn't just fucking happen.
But also, it be like that.
Exactly.
No, but then they just hey, we having a party? And then, dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
She didn't just have a snot nose breakdown.
Full Viola Davis.
Yes.
Yeah. Love that scene. Surprises. I guess something that's sticking out to me is the fire department knocking on her door, her admitting to arson, and then slamming the door in her face, and that was the end of the conversation. Yeah. It's me watching that. I'm just ooh, they about to get her. This is. I was expecting this movie to turn into a Thelma and Louise at some point. And that's not what happens. No. So I feel that's the moment where it's just we're just gonna let that slide. We'll never talk about this car again.
She stay in a rich neighborhood. They'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean the rich neighbors are the one who called.
Yeah,
like they said, thankfully somebody cared enough to call us.
And they called the fire department, not the police.
It's so they really did care.
Yeah, they really did. They really did care,
and probably why they didn't arrest her.
Yeah, because they're the police. They're we don't arrest people. We're the fire department. Ma'am, did you know that the car's out on fire? You can only burn trash. It is trash.
It is trash.
Okay, that's it. Wow.
They also, I think the firefighter was just
again.
The firefighter was just bro, I am not dealing with this. This woman is very sure about this fire, she said, and I'm not about to have her start another
exhausted.
one.
She just blowing the cigarette smoke in my face in her bathrobe. I'm not fucking with it.
I'm
completely
extinguish
unhinged.
this fire, and we're gonna go. And then on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you rate this film? And would you recommend it to anyone?
I want to give it a strong 3.8. Because I'm you should watch it. I think it's cool to sit in this music with all of these beautiful people and just maybe drink wine and eat some popcorn over it while you yell about trash men. But if you just want to watch it to maybe feel good, that's not this. So that's why I'm 3.8.
Okay.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5. And I'd say, even though I was like kind of roasting it in some parts, and I even told you guys I was going to shit on this movie, I would recommend it. Just like, it's like if you're into that Lifetime stuff, go for it. I recommend this over Brown Sugar.
All right. Yeah.
I don't hate Brown Sugar. Sorry, I was just roasting Brown Sugar. I'm
like, that's still my movie. I still really like Brown Sugar.
This movie could have been worse. I'll say that.
It could have been. Mm-hmm. I felt that. Same. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was so close to the 4 because I agree it does feel like a really good movie. Like, I don't have that many qualms with it. But if I were to give myself a little something to be desired, it's like, I guess I just want a little bit more joy, a little more hope for the new year for these women. Like, I feel like I just watched them like go through the shit and like
they went through it the past year.
It only just kind of like be celebrated with each other, and that's great, but like I guess I always want a little bit of hope at the end. Like, I want something to feel desired. It just
Did you
feels
not feel hopeful at the end
for Gloria, for Angela a little bit, but also I don't know, it didn't sound like Wesley Snipes was coming back for her so much. It's just like, I'm glad we shared that moment. I hope you're well.
But that's the thing, like, it felt like she also was impressed about it, and it was like, you know, it was just kind of a moment, and she wasn't like, I gotta get him back, I need him in my life, you know. I'm like, I have Whitney stood up to her mom and like put some boundaries in place. I don't know, I feel like these women are gonna have
away with a baby. But I'm just like, also, is this the same baby? Like, is Russell the same man that she moved out here for? Has she been messing with just Russell this whole time? Okay.
Yeah. And I think that ties into
redemption.
Yeah,
I'm just keeping the baby
into it. Yeah, exactly. I think it was like she got an abortion because he didn't want it, and she did. And then like she goes through this whole thing and realizes that like she's gonna like live her life for her, and she wants this baby whether or not he's there or not. Yeah, I mean, I felt hopeful for these women that they were going to have a better year than the year before, the year we just watched. I feel like they were all better, like on better like footing going into this next year. I had a lot of hope. I had hope for them. I had a lot of hope for them. You know, it's not, you know, with perfect. Like, they didn't solve all of their problems in a singular year, but I do feel like they were all across the board like better equipped to step in to the next one.
You're right.
But I understand like there wasn't a lot of joy in this movie, but I don't think it was meant to, like, just waiting to exhale. Like,
yeah.
Maybe if they had ever made the sequel, maybe that would have had a little bit more, but maybe not, because they would have been like in their 50s probably.
I'm like,
still
again, it
dealing
would have
with
been
shit, man.
girlfriends where I'm just like,
Yeah.
homegirl would have been like Tony out here with just this baby and then like shitting on whatever man is trying to come in and like help her with it.
Yeah.
Who knows where Whitney is? I'm sure just like leading a mega corporation and then ends up being Janet Jackson in Particular Girls. I don't know.
I hope not.
All right. Well,
Well,
Well.
all right.
Well. Yeah.
Well, yes,
Sorry.
thank you. Thank you guys, for watching this movie and talking about it with me. And yeah, like, shout out to Black cinema, Shout out.
Shout out everybody in this movie for
for real.
being fantastic
And beautiful.
and not getting their fat flowers yet.
Yeah.
We won't talk about
A
that.
shame. We won't talk about it. But yeah, so like shout out to this movie. Shout out to all of the phenomenal people in this movie. R.I.P. Whitney. Angela Bassett is about to do the commencement speech at Spelman and get an honorary doctorate. This is like her second one, I believe, her second or third. Loretta Devine is also about to be in Atlanta. She's going to be in the new musical adaptation of The Preacher's Wife. Look at that Whitney connection. R.I.P. Nippy. And Lela Rechon, I just saw her. I think like Miss Tina gave her some sacred or something. So like shout out to all of these women doing big things still to this day. Shout out. And so if you like this podcast, tell your friend, tell your sister, your brother, your mama, your cousin, your neighbor, the person sitting to you on the train about this podcast, and like it and review it and comment and let us know what you think about it. If you love this film or not, I want to know, and tell me why. And yeah, I mean, that's all until we come back for the next episode. You guys have anything to say?
Keep supporting Black filmmakers and your local filmmakers and artistes, and don't take no shit from no man.
Take no shit.
Nope.
Take his
Don't do
baby
it.
and leave.
Take his baby and leave and get that child support. Get it. And
Okay.
that's it,
Yeah,
Thank
peace
you.
out.
So long, everybody.